What's up, everybody? I am Lady Stars and Fire. My real name is Michelle Espinosa, and this is the weekly healing messages for May 15th through to the 22nd. Now, before I go into the healing messages, I want to say Happy Mother's Day to everyone, because I'm actually recording this on Mother's Day. So, Happy Mother's Day to everybody, and that includes you fathers who are single fathers, and you're doing the mother's job as well. So happy Mother's Day, as well as all of those who have our pet family, and that may be our only children. Happy Mother's Day to you. Next, before I go into the healing messages, my energy, if you pick up energy through the videos, may be a little wobbly today, and that's because before I go into the message, like I said, the healing messages for this week, I need to tell everybody, if you are trying to reach me throughout this week, you most likely won't be able to reach me until after Wednesday. I had a death in the family, and I'm going to have to leave the state and go out of town to handle and deal with that for the funeral arrangements and so forth. And thank you for all of your condolences, because I know I've received so many already, but we are dealing with it, and I wanted to make sure that I got the healing messages out before I left. I am also adding the runes in this video, so there will not be 2 videos as I will be out of town. But there are only 2 runes for this week, so that's pretty good. But like I said, I'll be out of town, so I wanted to make sure I got it out to everyone as early as possible before I left. I am being told right now that this week is going to have a lot of green physical energy, and for me, green typically means dealing with growth in general. But I'm also being told, because, and that might be my situation, but typically we are all one in some way or another, so we need to get outside and spend some time with nature as well, because green usually deals with being good with nature. It helps us bring back our creativity. It helps us bring back, you know, just our, so we can go on, because this is a week where you're going to need to feel that strength. You're going to need to feel that hope and that trust. And just like I was saying last week when I did the rune cast, that would be continuing all the way until Wednesday, we were given the iron symbol, and the iron stands for the eye, the all-seeing eye, but it stands for the divine providence, meaning we are all protected by the divine. The divine is guiding us. Although that does not mean that doesn't have hard decisions to make. That doesn't mean that we aren't dealing with situations that could be difficult. And this would be one of those weeks where that decision making may very much be important to be making during this week. So remember, you've got that divine providence with you. You have the iron with you. It's the all-seeing eye, but it also reminds us of above and below in energy. It also is reminding us of the spring that flows through all things, as well as the iron reminds us what we are here in our third eye is what we are sending to our whole body, is our spring from our third eye coming with ego or coming from soulfulness. Basically, we got to make sure that our spring is running with healing waters, so to speak. And I'm being reminded also the lighthouse. The lighthouse for me typically stands for, you know, that faith, that lighting the way, the hope. And that's a good thing to be holding on to, and I'm being shown that that is definitely an energy for this week. However, that is the information that I brought up when I was doing the 10th through the 17th, which would end on Wednesday. Now, they are telling me right now for this week, from the 15th to the 22nd, that we have some of the triangle energy. However, we have the triangle energy both up and down. So it's female and male. It's lunar and solar. It's passive and assertive. It's up and down in our balance right now. And what they're showing me is like the triangle this way and then the triangle this way. But instead of creating a diamond, they're slightly off. The balance isn't completely right to create the diamond. Is what they're trying to get you back to, is that diamond image. But they're showing us that we're slightly off. And the triangle also speaks to us of the three, like the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit. Your mind, body, and spirit. Mother, father, child. Truth, wisdom, love. The of three. Waxing, whining, and full moons. It's the of the three times, basically, that is brings you to the Trinity of that wisdom, of that divine love, for that divine providence, going you back to the iron. However, like I said, I'm being shown that the triangles up and down, instead of creating the perfect diamond, are slightly off-centered, and pulling them back together for that balance is what I'm being shown. And with that green energy, which brings us growth. But it also brings us the psychic energy, as well as the psychic growth energy too. And green usually stands for change. And Lord knows we've all been seeing some changes in our life. But I feel this week is that week you need to be strong, stick to your hope and your faith, really believe in it, but you're going to find yourself in the times where you're going to be making some of those decisions. And I'm going to explain that a little bit later. I also am given the 10 in energy. 10 speaks to us of basically creating our own reality. That also speaks to us of the iron, of our third eye, and is our spring of our whole body running with ill water, or, soulful water. This is about getting clean again. But it's about creating our own reality and remembering that we create our own reality through our own actions, our own thoughts, and so forth. Then I am shown in the astrology, I am shown Palace, because I had to really search for what it was that they were trying to show me. Because with the passing of my mother's brother, I kind of had to pull back a little bit, basically so I could give you a true reading, so I wasn't getting into my own emotions, and I was really allowing them to point things out and let me look into it so that I didn't emotionally step in. And that's part of what a shaman does. We take our emotions out and we follow the hollow bone so we can get the true information. And I'm being shown Palace in astrology, and I'm being shown Mercury in astrology is a symbol. But they were showing me that with the triangle up and down. It was like the triangle here, and then it would vanish, Palace would arrive, and Mercury would arrive. And so they were showing me it in that form, is how I'm explaining it to you. Now, Palace, if you don't follow your astrology as well, Palace, I'm going to learn to talk one day. Palace is the goddess Athena. It speaks to us, the goddess Athena speaks to us of the goddess of wisdom, courage, warfare, strategy, skill, and also the weaving of patterns itself. Then we are told Mercury. Now, Mercury in astrology is all about our communication and how our communication is done. However, Mercury also was a god and is seen also dealing with business in general, with the artistic side of things, like the writers, the poets, the musicians, actors, your artistic side coming up, and along with that creativity, as well as communication skills. So we're being told really to pay attention to our Palace and pay attention to our Mercury this week. Now, when I get into actually looking at the astrology itself, Mercury moves to Taurus on, Mercury moves to Taurus on the 16th, which is on Tuesday. That's going to be a big day, but I'm going to come back and explain that in a second. On Friday, the 20th, the Sun moves into Gemini. So you've got Mercury moving into Taurus, the Sun moving into Gemini. Now, Mercury and Taurus is the bull. It can be bullheaded, but it's not always a bad thing. The bull of Taurus also speaks to us of the love of the luxury, the love of, the enjoying things of life, of you know, taking those walks on the beach, of just of enjoying life and its sensuality along with it, feeling good within that sensuality. In Taurus, we don't necessarily want to do too much changing because we kind of want to just, I like this and I want to go with the flow. Well, I gotta change kind of thing. Taurus is either like that or it's bullheaded and there's no stopping the bull. No matter if it's good or bad. It's one or the other. And with Mercury, it's speaking to us directly of our communication. You may also want to look into the fly medicine for the week, because I have a fly that's landed on my paperwork and it's been circling where Mercury was. So it may be talking to you about the information you might also need under fly medicine, animal spirit guide medicine, along with mixing that with Mercury, considering my spirit guides tend to come to me in real life too, and I have a ton of animal guides. Anyway, we talk about Mercury and Taurus, and it moves on the 16th, which is Tuesday. You have Sun, which is moving into Gemini on the 20th. Sun is our core energy. It is what we shine with. That is of us. It is also how we are seen. So it's how we want to be seen, how we are seen. It's also just the core of what it is that gets to us. And it's moving into Gemini. And Gemini is the two faces. But I don't mean two-faced like bad. It's also ruled by Mercury. And that's why it is the two faces. It goes back and forth. It's the communication that's going back and forth. Just like the god Mercury was known for having the wings on his shoes, flying back and forth to shuttle the communication, that information. And Gemini can see both sides of everything, but it can also be so in between that it may not get all the information of everything either. So kind of is in that communication area because it deals with Mercury itself. So the Sun, your core, is going into that kind of energy. Now, take us back to Mercury on the 16th, on Tuesday. And the reason I'm saying this is a big day is because of the way Spirit keeps pointing it out to me. When I see the astrology, there is a specific aspect that comes in. We call our aspects the trines, the squares, so forth, the conjunctions. There's a specific sign that doesn't come up that often that shows up in astrology, which is called the yod. Now, the thing is, the yod in truth is showing up on the 16th, which is Tuesday when Mercury moves into Taurus. This is why it's being a big day, and I think why they're also showing me partially Mercury's energy this week. However, for a true yod, a true yod, it's off like 3 degrees. But a lot of times in astrology, that energy is still being picked up within that 10 degrees. So I'm feeling that I'm being told to bring about this information as if it was still a true yod. May not be quite as strong as a normal yod would be, but they don't show up that often. And yod in Hebrew stands for the creation. It works with the number 10 as well. It works with creating our own realities. It brings us that 10 energy. It brings us the energy of the yod in Hebrew, which is the ability to create, basically. But another thing is it's called in yod in Hebrew, it is called the finger of God. However, the yod actually is the hand or the arm of God, so to speak. So this is really a pointing time of realizing where those answers can be found. That's why we talk about the yod in such a way. When the yod is pointing, it's also a triangle, but it's at 60 degrees across from each other, and then I think it's like 150, I can't remember, but I was doing the math before I came out here. on the opposite sides of each other to that point. And like I said, it is off just a few degrees, but I'm feeling that I'm being told that energy is still there. It's just more or less hidden. And the yod is, like I said, it's a place of, it's the finger of God. It's that finger pointing of, this is where you'll find these answers. And the yod is of Mars in Gemini, the North Node in Leo, or actually on the cusp of Leo and Virgo. And then it's coming to where it points is to the moon energy and Pluto energy. And Pluto is in retrograde. Pluto is all about change right now. Death, decay, and destruction for rebirth, renewal, and regeneration. This is one of those regeneration times, but where that decision making might be showing up for you, especially right around the 12th. I mean, right around the 16th, and that was just glowing in green for me. So right there might be a very big part for that growth that you might be needing, or that change that you may be needing. You might be looking into how you're feeling emotionally, sensitivity levels within your Pluto and the moon on that day, is what I'm being shown. Although I am being told the moon energy throughout this week will be also giving you somewhat of that yod energy. Some of that right here is where your decisions are showing themselves, and the decision that should go this way or this way, and this is where you should be basing that decision from, because the yod speaks to us of our consciousness, of making the conscious right decision. It also speaks to us of our purpose, following where our purpose really lies within the situation. Now, as I move into the next of it, like I said, also the moon will be speaking to us this week, and the moon is going from Capricorn all the way to Aries throughout the week, where it will be speaking to Lilith, it will be speaking to Saturn, it will be speaking a lot to Mercury and Uranus as well throughout the week. So that's also speaking about your communication, your core, your independence, and that communication. All of that is where your moon energy, that sensitivity, is going to be hitting throughout that week. So you want to pay extra attention to what it is telling you. But is it telling you from a soulful side or an ego side? And from there is where you might want to make those decisions. Now, because the yod speaks to us of the pathway, the gateway. It speaks to us of the proper direction, the purpose, and our consciousness. With the moon and Pluto in Capricorn, this speaks to us as, I hadn't flipped my page over. It speaks to us of also being in creating that new foundation because of Capricorn. Creating that new foundation for whatever change it is that we are making. The moon's speaking to us of what it is we truly, deeply want within that purpose. And Pluto is speaking to us of what didn't work from the death in the past, as to understand what needs to be renewed and bring us forward into the future for those changes. The moon again will be speaking to Saturn, Lilith, Mars, Mercury, and Uranus this week. And that's going to be a lot of emotional energy speaking to us on our boundaries and our communication of our independence, of our inventive selves, of our creation of ourselves, of that, at the same time, that Aquarius energy, where you just never know what that person might do. Because Aquarius is known for just, I'll take on City Hall. Why not? Let's go do it. Let's build a house, you know, kind of thing. They're ready for anything. They'll just take on anything at any given time. And it's a great inventive energy, but no holds barred, kind of just comes out. And the moon might be speaking to you on that questioning of where your ego versus your soul is lying this week within your Saturn, your Mars. Your Saturn is your rules and your boundaries. Your Mars is your passion, your action, and your warrior. And then Mercury is your communication, and Uranus, again, is our inventive, our independence, and our individuality. Then I am being shown for the week as well, because I was pointed out to look at Mercury. Mercury during this week is squaring. Squaring means this is challenging. It's not an easy combination to work through. Mercury is squaring Pluto and Juno. Pluto, again, is and Juno both are in Capricorn, where that foundation is set. Mercury, that communication is kind of button heads in that area, is what we're being said, what we're being shown. And that is your death, decay, and destruction, change, for rebirth, renewal, regeneration. And it's speaking with Juno and Mercury. Juno is the sacrifice that it takes to make the commitment. It is the commitment itself, the long haul. That's what Juno is all about. And Mercury is going, well, they're button heads on that communication, basically. The challenge is not necessarily coming easily. That communication isn't necessarily coming easily. This is something you're going to have to search your heart and your soul for and believe in the best that can come. Then I am shown that it is also squaring Neptune and Pisces. Neptune, which is in Pisces. That is, like I've been saying for the last couple weeks, that is where the magic is. That's where that magical manifestation that turns your fantasy into reality takes place. What side of Neptune are you on? Are you on that beast side where Neptune is talking to your ego and keeping you from moving forward? Or are you positive and you're in the right side of Neptune and you're manifesting all of those positive changes? Because ego, you just got to get rid of ego. Plain and simple. Ego ain't going to do you any good, especially this week. Now, I am shown that Mercury is also in conjunction with Uranus. Now, Mercury is moving, but it's still not leaving that 10% and actually stepped out of the conjunction of Uranus. So, independently, individuality and our inventiveness, those two are really still communicating well. And Uranus technically is still in Aries. Uranus is still in that energy of, let me just jump out and take over and start a brand new. Basically, Mercury is still communicating very well with it throughout this week before that conjunction actually separates. So this is a good time to listen to your individuality, your independence. Listen to what your Mercury is telling you. Even though you're still in the square with Pluto and Juno. That's the changes. But listen to what it's telling you, your individuality, your inventiveness, your of that part of you. What is it that is yearning and coming up and trying to talk to you? Because that is what you're going to need to hear in order to make it through the challenge of that sacrifice of Juno and Pluto. Now, you also have Mercury speaking to Saturn and speaking to the North Node. The North Node, which again is in Leo / a little bit of that Virgo energy. So we're still talking to the fire of the lion, the heart of the lion, the passion of the lion from that Leo energy, but we're still in service at the same time. So Leo has that prideful energy too, but it's about service. It's about rising up and doing the better. Sucking it up and doing what's right. It's also speaking to us of our Saturn, which is in Sagittarius, which is talking about in a positive way of let's experience and take chances with these rules and these challenges of these rules and boundaries. Basically, Mercury is communicating positively with this energy. Now, we have Pallas this week, which again is Athena, which is strategy, the skill you need to get through it is what we're being shown. The strategy there, as well as courage and the weaving of patterns itself. Is Athena brings that energy to us. She is in conjunction with Venus, and Venus is in Aries, so is she. And that's going to bring that sensitivity of what you like forth, as well as what really in that strategy is not going to work for you emotionally, sensitivity levels. Because Venus speaks to us about what we love, but this is going to speak to us about how can we create with that strategy to move forward with that Venus energy, which is also able to make you... Venus teaches us how to get what we want, teaches us how to get what we love, not just in relationships, but in general, in material items as well. How do we get our scarves that we love? How do we get the candles that we love? How do you guys get your great big trucks that you love, you know, so to speak? It speaks to us of the strategy we need to create for the positive way of getting what it is we love, and then starting that, moving forward in that energy. It also speaks to us in a positive way of Lilith. And Lilith is, those two would be Venus, Pallas, and Lilith would be speaking to us of what it is that has hurt us. Because Lilith tends to hold on to our vengefulness, tends to hold on to the things that have hurt us in the past. She's the dark moon. But she's talking to you about why it hurt you and how not to make those same mistakes, so that you can see past them and start to work into the positive. Because Pallas is in a square, which is challenging with Pluto and Juno. Again, the sacrifice of that commitment that you're trying to make, along with the change within that, and setting that foundation with the strategy of how. That's going to be challenging this week. Then it also speaks to us of Libra and Jupiter. So that is going to be major abundance coming in a challenging way. So, because you've got that abundance coming from Jupiter in general, as well as its growth and its knowledge of that, because it brings that higher learning in. And Libra's talking about relationships in general. It's talking about tipping the scales to make those relationships right by showing us where it's wrong, where it's not working out well. And Athena is going to be evaluating that, and you want to pay good attention, but you want to stay neutral within that energy where it's challenging, so that you learn and not get mad and take it out of you in bad ways. Sun is also in conjunction with Ceres. This is our core, speaking to our mother nature, speaking to our nurturing side. This is our core, speaking to cause and effect and karma. And this is a very positive energy, because I'm being told it's coming in that green growth as well as psychic energy for your core, for who and what it is you are, helping you shine, as well as the change itself that's coming from the core of everything in your life that's changing. With it being in Ceres, though, there might be some karmic obstacles there. It is a positive thing, but as long as you know the karmic obstacles are there, you can be prepared for them. Ceres also speaks to us of, like I said, this is a positive energy of that nurturing, that mothering energy, which is great. But at the same time, when the nurturing or the mothering hasn't taken place in, well, positive ways, it will point itself out in the opposite. Like, custody battles, self-esteem, and it may be showing you where you need to work towards these positive nurturings of yourself as well as your family, if it hasn't been positive already. That would be the karma trying to teach you how to get out of its way, basically. Now, I am being shown for neutral energy this week. Not neutral. I'm being told to keep it in that pale blue neutral energy, but to also have that courage within it, but to stay neutral. I'm being told in that physical energy of our life, take the neutral counselor, is what I'm being told, because we have the North Node in Leo speaking to Chiron. This is an unpredictable energy. That is that Leo energy, that North Node of wanting to do better, but also we have a little bit of ego in there because of the Virgo versus the Leo. And the North Node is about making things right, turning the better part of our life into better, being into better service, being into showing how to love better, be passionate better, compassionate better, be better people in general to each other. But it's speaking to Chiron. This can be a very unpredictable energy, meaning Chiron is your wounded healer. That would be the ego again, is the wounded healer keeping you behind in Neptune's energy. Because we're talking about Pisces here. Is it keeping you in that beast of of your ego and what you've known in the past and what has hurt you and not being able to move forward? Or are you learning from it and finding it in a soulful way and moving forward? This is, I'm being told, keep that in that blue, like counselor energy, that neutral counselor energy for whatever it is you might learn this week. I'm also being told Jupiter in Libra is also speaking in Neptune. Again, what side of Neptune are you on? Are you on the positive, changing fantasy into reality and creating it? Like I said, we were given the yacht, given the ability to create our own realities. Or are we creating our own reality from our own personal hell, our own personal beast from the past that's keeping us from moving forward? Because that's exactly what your dark side is meant to do, to tap in there, ear chatter, and keep you from moving forward into the great positive person you are, to keep you from moving into the direction, the purpose, and the consciousness of everything you can be. And if you're on the wrong side of Neptune and in your ego, it will do exactly that. Now, I am being shown for the runes because I am almost done, and there's only 2 runes, and in fact they're in 2 different vibrations. Coming in the higher vibration, which is what they are saying is the most important thing to know for the week, is Jera, and it's coming in. It's very hot and it wants to sink itself to the ground. So it's telling you to stay grounded in this energy because it feels like a magnet dropping. But it's coming in Howlite, which is spiritual in energies, but it's also calming in energies. Jera speaks to us of the year, the harvest, the season, earth, and earlier efforts being realized and promised to that success. It speaks to us of timing, natural cycles, and waiting for those results. It is the ruin of harvest and of one's efforts, points of attunement as well to earth and season. Like I said, get outside, seasonal. Jera shows us the presence of someone who is also working with the land or the environment in general. It speaks to us of the cycles of seasonal changes or organic natural processes, the harvest, the patience, timing, rewards for efforts, debts paid back, cycle of life and of its returning energy, outgoing cycle as well with the natural flow from beginning to end, putting energies into the external. This is what the North Node is all about. It's about having the compassion and the love that we should have for each other and putting it out there properly as well. It speaks to us of relationships with the environment. But on a little bit of a lower level, I am being given radio. And this is coming in truth and honesty. And this is more like a reminder in the background for some of those energies that might come your way. Radio is the ride, the riding. It is Thor's chariot. It is air. It is the world of rhythm and dance of life. It focuses on matters of order, justice, change through preparation, structure of outward control or about its issues. Remember, this is all about outwardly, not inwardly, outwardly. That's what service is about. Indicates the journey over land and vehicle may be taking place this week. Radio is also known as a good rune for traveling with, for protection. It is, but I'm being shown, but that would also, because I'm going out of town, it also speaks to us of, like I said, the journey over land, vehicle, or in such a thing as a car, because they're highlighting that in green. It points to the presence of people involved with practices also of law or of skilled ritual artwork, rules, ceremony, magical rites. This could also deal with court systems too. It's the principle of outward order, justice, and change. It is the channeling of energy according to the natural law, ritual, magic, and the rhythm and rhyme on the dance of life. It is that controlled movement of the dance of life. This is the energy that is bigger than you, that is manifesting around you. So make sure you're keeping your manifestation in that positive energy so you stay on that right swing of things. It is the primal order expressed in our ethical relationships as well as within our environment. It is the rune craft of outer self-order and measured change. I say this to people all the time. The rune craft of outer self-order and our measured change. Service! Service there. Are you in service? How are you growing with this as well? Not just for you, but for all of us. This is growth through planning and preparation this week. Experience in the outer world, logic and ethics do apply. Wise counsel, justice, just rewards, and legal matters as well. Personal control and responsibility to our journeys over the land itself. So it's our own responsibility as well. I love you, and I hope you have a wonderful week. And if you're trying to reach me personally, you probably won't be able to reach me at the website, Facebook, or any other place that you can reach me on social media, most likely until Wednesday, unless I have to happen to pop in a little here and there in between some time. But otherwise, I'm pretty much not going to be able to be reached until Wednesday. I love you. I hope you have a wonderful week, and I will see you next week. Hugs and kisses in the wind. Bye.